on the way from picking up his daughter, a father on the way to pick up his soon-to-be wife received a phone call telling him to rush over to his fiance's workplace. There was an attack, he was told. Planning to treat his fiancée to a romantic dinner that evening, he couldn't believe what he walked up to as he entered the building. What he would soon learn would leave his heart in a million pieces. This is the story of Kirsty James. Kirsty James, who was 27 years old at the time, was born in 1995 to parents Marion Brandes and Eugene Dethy. Born and raised in Mossel Bay of Western Cape, South Africa, Kirsty's childhood was filled with love, joy, laughter, together with her sister Zoe Brandes. The sisters were raised in a warm and full of love home with parents who doted on them. Kirsty was described to be a loving, peaceful, warm, soft-spoken person. Monique, Kirsty's longtime friend, said Kirsty would message her whenever she was down and ask if she was okay and would motivate her to make her feel better. She was a friend indeed, she said. Kirsty was employed at NDK Valuers in Mossel Bay, where she worked as an office manager. She was also a mother to a beautiful baby girl named Aliyah, who was 2 years old at the time. Together with her partner Monray Josias, who was 33 years old. The couple was planning on getting married. Kirsty had a lot to look forward to, and it seemed like nothing could make her life more happy. Her career was great, her personal life couldn't be more perfect, Kirsty couldn't be happier. But soon the future would prove how unpredictable it actually is, as the happiness would make way for heartbreak. The day started out like any ordinary day for Kirsty and her family, with nothing out of the ordinary, but took a dark turn during the afternoon. Josias, Kirsty's fiance, while on the way from picking up his daughter from preschool at around 3 p.m., received a call that shocked him to the core. He had sent Kirsty a message saying he was planning to spoil her a bit. Kirsty would never get the message. At lunchtime, he had dropped off lunch at her office for her and was planning on surprising her with a meal at a restaurant that evening. It was 3:26 p.m. and he was surprised she didn't respond, as she always responded to his messages. So he decided to call her, but she didn't answer. After picking up his daughter on the way to picking up Kirsty from her workplace, he received a call from a family member to rush over to Kirsty's workplace. As he arrived, he was taken aback by the police cars and ambulance. He entered the office building, headed over to Kirsty's office, but was shocked when he was told that his fiancée and mother of his child, Kirsty James, was stabbed. I saw her lying there, and there was a lot of blood. I thought she was still alive because it looked to me like they tried hard to stop the bleeding. The police then opened a homicide investigation. They started asking other employees questions. It quickly became apparent that Kirsty was murdered by someone who was much closer to home than they had imagined, and the perpetrator was still in the office. She made no attempt to flee. Her name was Fallon Edwards, Kirsty's colleague and friend. Fallon Edwards was 32 years old at the time of Kirsty's murder. She was a part-time employee of NDV Valuers. Fallon and Kirsty were at one point very close and visiting each other's homes and meeting each other's families. According to Kirsty's mom, Marianne Brandes, a few weeks earlier, the friends and colleagues did not see eye to eye because Kirsty had found out that Fallon had allegedly committed fraud amounting to more than 30,000 rands with the company's credit card. Kirsty, being an office manager at NDV Values, would occasionally ask Fallon to come and assist her whenever the workload was too much. She was, however, not working on the day of the attack. Kirsty's mother said she approached Fallon after Kirsty was lifted inside the ambulance. I asked her why she killed Kirsty, and all she could tell me was, "Go ask your daughter." I was actually very disappointed in her response because the woman I saw that day was not the woman I knew back then when she would come to my house. There was no remorse nor an apology from her. Fallon's hand was bleeding as she sustained a cut during the attack. She was taken to hospital to treat the cut to her hand under police guard. She was then arrested and was remanded in custody. Kirsty's family and friends were heartbroken and shocked when they found out that she had succumbed to her injuries on the way to hospital. Disbelief and heartache were the results that followed. It is alleged that weeks prior to the office attack, Kirsty found out that Fallon was stealing from the company. She reported Fallon, and she didn't take it too well that she was reported. So on Monday, before the company's closing hours, Fallon entered the premises with intent as she was not working on the day. She entered, headed for Kirsty's office, and launched the savage knife attack on her without warning. Kirsty's autopsy report was released to the police, and it reported that Kirsty was stabbed 64 times. Her whole body was riddled with stab wounds. Fallon stabbed her with so much force that the blade of the knife broke off in Kirsty's body. Kirsty's fiance was still in shock. He said, "She was the most beautiful person in the world and wouldn't hurt a fly. I don't know how I'm going to make it without her. We were together for 8 years." Kirsty's mother said, "I miss my child already. She was a beautiful, soft-spoken, and very kind woman. Kirsty was loved by many because of the kind-natured person she was. My last few minutes with her before she passed on will forever be with me, but I have forgiven her for what she did to our family." Monique, Kirsty's close friend of many years, said, "I will miss her smile and our talks the most. I would do her nails for her, and she would be so excited to have them done. Those girly moments between us definitely will be missed." Fallon appeared in court shortly after for bail application. The case was then postponed for further investigations. It's still an ongoing case. Kirsty's mother said the family hope justice will be served. She continued to say, "I don't want revenge. I was not raised that way. I want justice to make that decision. I miss my daughter a lot. My grandchild will be raised without a mother now." Kirsty James was a very beautiful, successful, and kind-hearted person who was soft-spoken, had a stunning smile from which you could tell her warm, peaceful personality. She was the light of her mother's life and a protector to her 2-year-old baby girl. She did not deserve what happened to her. I hope her family and loved ones all find support and healing in this difficult time.